Well, EA Sports just dropped the College Football 26 campus or title update for the August 6th, and I wanted to cover kind of some of my just initial thoughts after playing the game for most of the morning, and just kind of break down, what is actually changed versus what is the same. Kind of decode these patch notes for you. I'll leave a link to them in the description if you want to read them for yourself. But basically, this is kind of the first major update. This is where they're trying to fix a lot of the things that were wrong with this game. Now, College Football 26, in a lot of regards, has kind of seen a lot of negative feedback for a lot of different reasons, and they really didn't really fix like the number one thing, but they did fix a lot of things. So let's gonna go through gameplay. This was kind of the major emphasis was the coverage, which I'm actually happy with that. You want your coverages to play certain ways, and I do think that they made some significant improvements. For example, the hard flat behaviors. The defenders now stay closer to the line of scrimmage and recognize swing routes as threats in the flat. That was something that was kind of really annoying on like fourth down and shorts or like short yardage situations. Basically, just hard flats wouldn't play the hard flat. They would back up. You could throw right at them, and it would never cover a flat. Now it does. So awesome. Another zone that got touched was the middle third or the middle or the mid read defender in a Tampa 2. It says here specifically the middle defender now gets deeper, maintaining a better leverage position against deep threats, especially from 3-by-1 formation. So, real quick, we're just going to hop over here to game and I'm going to go over a couple of these tweaks. So, first and foremost, the cover two hard flats. So I'm gonna I'm just gonna shade down here in a cover two, and I am going to just run this running back on a table route, and you're gonna see this outside corner. He does really bite down, as you see right there. The running back is covered. Okay. The other thing is the mid read. So the mid read, really, what they kind of did is they made this kind of more similar to Madden 25, where this mid read will get kind of a very fast, extreme amount of depth. So, for example, if I run a route combination like this, where we stem down a corner and we have a streak and we have a tight end flat route, for example, you're going to see that this slot receiver, see how he tops the route really well and actually kind of technically matches onto it. It's really good against bunch. It's really good against compression. That being said, it does have a little bit of a weakness in terms of a spread out type of set. So if I go to this trips, Y off trips week, all go, you see we have kind of a basic four verticals here. Kind of similar to what you would see out of a five wide. You might all just pair it with a little drag here. But what you'll notice from this is the mid read is going to get kind of bugged by the crosser. And so he gets back just a step too late, and you can throw this over the top. Now, I have noticed that if the tight end is on the line of scrimmage, like he's attached to the line, the mid read will play it a little bit better. But if he's off of the line of scrimmage, it's a little bit worse. It's a little bit worse. So, for example, if I go to like a five wide, I don't know if I have like an empty base or something here. I do. So if I go to this like five wide verticals, you see how the tight end on the right side is off the line of scrimmage. Now you're going to see that mid read is really going to play the crosser, and this you see right there, he's going to get over the top right there. And again, I got to wait on that just a little bit more, but we'll just show that one more time, and then we'll get back to the notes. So all in all, I do think it's a good change for the cover two. But I think what's really interesting is I don't understand the coding difference between this being an attached tight end and this being an outside guy. And you'll see it here. Like if I wait on this a little bit, he's going to really bite. So you see he kind of really bites there. And now I'm able to get this a little bit more over the top. So I don't love that. I would prefer the mid read to actually lock on to the seam and give up the crosser, because I just think that makes more logical sense in terms of the rules of a cover two. Now, what you're going to see, though, which is honestly fine, and I do think cover two is going to be even. I just think they made cover two like better than it already was. But what I really want to see is this middle third. So this is what's annoying. So as you saw there, the mid read got bombed when I went to that seam streak. What you would want is, let's say I put this mid read in a middle third. What you want is that middle third to play the seam streak. The problem is, for whatever reason, with the locomotion in the game, They make that middle third kind of back up slower. He actually kind of locks onto it here, but you see we're still able to have a little bit of a window. So bottom line being, putting the linebacker in the middle third, it just makes more logical sense. And I do think that this becomes, probably, the best, if not one of the better coverages in the game, just because we can easily get into, other things as well. Now I'll show it one more time on this verticals. And again, I'm not moving this guy back or anything. I just want him to run. Basically what I want is I want this guy to run stride for stride with the seam streak. I want him to turn his hips and I want him to run with them stride for stride. And what we have right now is this kind of back pedal that then kind of puts him in a bad position. And you see he's able to recover late, but it's a tight window, right? Which is what it is. Okay. Another thing that they changed, which I'm actually really excited for this, or that they improved, is if we go back over here to the notes, it says improved logic improvements for cover two match, including cover six, cover nine, and zone blitz two. This is actually a really big deal. So what they did is they logic improvements for defenders regarding inside and vertical routes, especially in formations like bunches and stacks, improving defense against outside throws and motion having logic. So what that basically practically means, which is like actually a big deal, they essentially made it better when utilizing soft squats and vertical hooks. Those are kind of the two key zones that really got touched here. So what you're going to see here is, let's see if I have a cover six in here. Yeah, I do. Perfect. So in cover six, you have the soft squat and this vert hook defender. Cover nine is just flipped cover six. So I'm going to flip it actually here. So what you're going to see is that this soft squat is going to, let's say on a combo like this right here, watch how the soft squat kind of plays on that right side. You're going to see he's actually going to technically kind of borderline match onto him. He should actually match to him a little better than he did right there. For whatever reason, he didn't. Especially if I press this up, I actually think it might be. Let me take this mid read off the field. Sometimes that can actually kind of play a factor. And so we'll see if that actually changes things. You see here, and you see there he's kind of matching onto him on the right. Okay, so now the other thing about this is this vert hook defender. He is actually supposed to match the seam streak, but he did not for whatever reason. Now he does in spread formations. So let's go back to kind of that previous example where we were talking a little bit about like a spread out trips, like a look like something like this right here, like a trio or trips. So what happens in a formation like this is the vert hook defender will match if you take off the field, the mid read off the field. So what you'll get, practically speaking, in a defense like this, let me just flip it, is the soft squat should take the vertical streak on the first guy. This vert hook should take number two, and then this leaves your user to be the three up as three and take him, or in this case, I'm just gonna spy the mid read because I don't want to mess it up. I know that the running back might be open here. We should get a match from this quarter flat to the running back though, and this should play really well. So, anyways, let's just take a look here, and we'll take a look at this specifically the vert hook. So if you watch the vert hook, you see there he latches onto the tight end for some reason. Don't love that. I mean, technically it actually played pretty good, but I don't love that he's latching onto that number three, because if we're talking about, let's say, a zone blitz, and this is what I think they actually did, is there's some kind of relationship to deep blue zones and the actual like yellow zones themselves, which is, we've really not seen that a ton. So the deep blue zones that you put on the field are actually going to matter. So let me just come back out in like a verticals type of play. And now let me go to like a cover two, like a DB fire. So like a cover two blitz. So you see how this is a cover two blitz. And just for sake of illustration here, we're just going to spy these blitzers, trying to kind of highlight the coverage logic. So now it's not cover nine where we have kind of a match on the backside on that deep half. Now it's a cover six. So now what we should expect is this vert hook to match R1. We'll see if he does. You see here, see how he matches him? And now he's actually going to play that seam streak. That's a huge deal. in terms of how you're able to defend out of a cover two base shell, regardless of formation. So I think that's a big deal and an actual major improvement by EA. Now, the other things that changed here, if we come back over to the notes, it says cover four quarters against 3x1 sets, corners, and safeties. Now pick up the appropriate vertical threat to ensure that the number three receiver is covered on deep routes. So this is something that's also true pretty much across the board. Like in terms of just playing Madden for a long time and playing college football as much as I've ever been able to. The standard manipulation is within a 3x1 set. So whether it's a bunch tight end, whether it's a trips tight end, it's kind of, those are the main ways in which we can manipulate. Here, just for the sake of the video, I'm going to put verticals. Of course, I don't have, I thought I had verticals in here. Do I not? I'm just going to put a better passing play. But anyway, let's take a look at this bunch tight end. So this is one of the best ways to manipulate match coverage pre-patch. We'll see if it was, and I would assume this is still pretty good, but anyway. So one of the best ways to manipulate match coverage pre-patch was to be in a bunch tight end and then have like a slot fade, a streak, a stem corner, and then you have the slot seam streak, and then you can do whatever you want with running back. So let's just kind of see how this plays. And you see here, for the most part, this bomb is still wide open. Now that is, to a degree, a little bit of just basic coding in this game. What you can do to kind of fix this, if you want to, is take the safety on that side and put him in a middle third. Okay, by putting that safety in the middle third, you are going to prevent that logic from triggering as poorly as it did right there. Now the tight end drag becomes an issue, of course, but you can handle that with other players. But as you see, the streak itself is not really an option. I actually messed that up. Let me put the streak there. Make sure that corner is stemmed down. Another major change while I'm talking about that is they significantly patched the flip route stuff, so you can't flip routes and get new routes anymore. That truly was a bug, so it is what it is. But anyways, now what you'll see is that middle third kind of rolls over that, and then you have the slot fade matched well, and now you're primarily responsible for the tight end drag. The only issue is if they run a combination like let's say they run a combination, so we have that R1 there. Let's say they run a combination like this, where they're kind of attacking with that crosser. Now what you're going to see is that middle third is not going to match him, and so that's now going to be open. Okay, that's kind of a way that they can kind of get around the manipulation. So what you'll get though is, and this is why the cover 6, cover 9 conversation is actually really relevant, is if you leave this match coverage as it is currently here, then this inside quarter is going to do a really good job of playing this crosser from the triangle receiver. And of course, I say that, and he actually did a terrible job of playing it. So forget everything I just said and just put the guy in the middle third. What I was about to say, as I had too much faith in the actual patch notes, is that would play that, but it did not. Okay, the only other thing here is the soft squat vert hook. Actually meant to flip this. So one other thing I wanted to show you, so with this coverage, is let's say you play cover 9. So in theory here, what you should be able to see is that if they run that tight end drag, we should kind of get the same basic manipulation here. And but you see that vert hook, yeah, and as you see, he doesn't match them in time. So you pretty much want to be in either cover 6 or cover 4 quarters or palms when playing bunch tight end, but you don't really want to put you kind of need to put that middle third there, okay, when you're playing bunch tight end. Now, the other thing I was going to talk about is this idea of trips. Really not a whole lot here other than just simple things here. So if I play, cover 4 palms against trips tight end, I should get a little bit better of a match here against like a street corner situation. So as you see, we get a nice match. The corner route's guarded well. But as you can see, you can still aggressive catch really easily in this game. So, anyways, bottom line is match coverage did get a little bit better, but it's not perfect by any means. The other thing I was going to say about match coverage is this right here. If we go over to this note, it says cover four palms and cover six. Corners will not press by default on trip sides, reducing chances of one play touchdowns. So this is kind of a response to the baseline stuff, and it is what it is. If you kind of want the cover six to press, you want not on the cover four side, but on the cover two side for sure. And so as you can see, I wish I could zoom out a little better here. Yeah, perfect. So as you can see on the left side, that corner is pressed up in cover four palm. So they said they won't press by default, but he is pressed up. And then if I put him on just a simple like stemmed up curl to kind of get the streak, by the way, you can now put a flat route on your slot receiver again, which is a really nice change. Or a really good, not change, but reversion of a change. Anyways, if we take a look here at this little streak, you see he does not press, and so he's not going to give up a one play touchdown. But if you have takeoff in that spot, you will kill him for a one play touchdown. So you can't press out of match coverage, and you can't even be in a press alignment, in my opinion. Okay. So those are the primary changes to coverage. The only other one we didn't hit on was the cover three match. So logic improvements for defenders when reacting to slot receivers attempting to out leverage the defense on deep routes. So this is primarily like seam flat defenders is what essentially they're talking about. So if we go into, let's see here, where would one of these coverages be? Maybe in this dime rush. We'll just try a cover three buzz match, and then we'll just use. I'm trying to think what formation. Really, the best formation is like a 2x2 spread set to run cover three match, typically. Okay, so you see how we have the seam flat on the left side. So we'll just see how this does against a basic corner route. I'm going to stem it down one time, but essentially this. And you see it matches pretty well to it. Kind of let it go late. The other thing is we need to check how it does against seam streaks. Cover three matches always. You see there, that's it's not ideal. The other one is the slot fade. So I don't know why that cover three buzz match is not matching properly with that outside third. Let me dim that up a little bit. Yeah, no, it's really just more of a cover, almost spot dropping, which is kind of odd. Let's see, which have I'll just have to go. I'll have to go get just a true. I mean, that said cover three buzz match on it. I'm pretty sure, and that's what seam flats do is they match. Yeah, it's surprising. It says cover three buzz match, but it wasn't really matching like you would think. Let me go grab just a nickel cover three match. Here we go. So the problem with cover three match historically is wheel routes and slot fades. They get really, really, really killed here. So we'll just try this. Let's just see. That played pretty good. The post late, maybe. But I don't really feel like this is matching. That's the thing. Like, I really don't feel like this is actually a true match. Like, I feel like what you could basically do is just put a stem down corner or streak and then just wait on the stem corner. He kind of carries him, but he kind of falls off of him, honestly. And then we'll try a slot fade. I just wish I could pull this outside third. I'm just not able to pull it, which is kind of the issue. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. Plays, like, in terms of what it actually practically could take away, like, that's pretty good. Of course, you want to always double check with your bunch set. So let me just grab bunch tight end real quick. How does cover three match play against bunch? Because bunch is obviously meta. The other thing about bunch is because flipping is, while it was patched, it's still, you can still flip really well. Bunch is still really good, or these compression sets are still going to be really, really good. So let's just see how the stem down corner does. Kind of carries it a little bit more, but there is a window. And then let's just see. Oh, Juraller. That's why you gotta spy these dudes, man. They just go crazy. Hard flat's definitely hard flat now, which is cool. That's a great change. Outside third, yeah. I mean, those seam flat curl flats, they get a lot more depth than they did before. I don't know if that's the main thing they changed, but that's the main thing I'm seeing is that the seam flats they really do. There's that hook curl. That hook curl should play that. It doesn't really outside third. I mean, it's playing it better, but it's not. It's certainly not fixed because then like look at how open that is. So then to take that away, you're gonna have to shade underneath, and this is where it just kind of becomes back to like just basic passing. Having high low reads, but now your hard flat takes that away, which is cool. But then that's open. The one other thing that they didn't say in the notes, but I'm actually excited for, is I think they did something. I think they did something to yellow zones to make them play a little bit better when you shade down. So, like if I'm going to cover two and I shade underneath here, again, I just want you to look at like the zig. Before, if you shaded underneath, the zig would really still get wide open. But now you see that shade, like he's technically open, but he's not really open. You know what I mean? So now, the reason that that matters is because now you can shade underneath, but you can still put matching zones on the field. So like you could put, like I think one of the best coverages in the game was going to be a shaded underneath cover two with two soft squats on the outside, because the soft squats seem to play a little bit better against these deeper corners. Cloud flats are terrible against these deeper corners, but a soft squat, you see there, he kind of played on it a little bit more. Eventually, he came down. The thing I don't like seeing is this right here. So like a cloud, if you're just running if you're just running like a basic over two, it's really easy to manipulate this cloud. So you'll see here X spot, just stem him down, just streak this guy, and then you have the stem down corners. I mean, look how wide open it is against the cover two. So that kind of makes you think maybe I don't know, just how do you stop it, right? Um, Not sure, right? I think maybe some matching or some. Obviously, switched it because the answer to everything, but in general, that kind of leaves a little less to be desired there. On this left side, if I want cover four shaded down, another thing I wanted to see is does this outside quarter defend this corner route? And you see he doesn't. It's still wide open. So I mean there were some tuning, some improvements, but all in all, it didn't really change a whole lot in terms of what you're gonna see in terms of what's effective. Now coming back to pass blocking and the or pass block pass rush, the biggest thing here is they did touch this a little bit, and it kind of made some interesting changes. So it says pre-play resolved issues where quarterback animations prevented players from making protection. That's just a bug that's fixed. Protection menu automatic. That's cool. Fixed display issues with pass block lines. That's cool. Really here is the blocking logic enhancements is what we're looking at. It says improved recognition of stunts and loops across. These are three very important words across base, empty, and slide protections. Okay. Now I post whenever a patch comes out, I post a lot of clips on my Twitter, just kind of showing little snapshots of like they said this, but really this is how this still works. So if you guys do want to like see those as soon as they come out, just hit the follow. I'll put the link to my Twitter or my X account in the description. Okay, let's go over here real quick and let's talk just briefly. And I don't really want to do it from a bunch strong. I kind of want to be a little bit more spread out here about the stunts. So there's really only one stunt that is, in my opinion, what I would consider truly like really relevant. There's a couple other ones that are okay, but they're really more for like almost containing the quarterback than actually getting pressure. So this is dime rush. And what we normally do is we turn auto flip off, we flip it, and then we hold down the button and we click the Texas four man. Okay. This is America's defense. This is my favorite defense right now, just because it's very simple and it's really centered around switch stick. So, like, literally, you could just run the entire defense out of this cover two, and you'll go either, put this guy in the mid read. This pretty much bomb proofs. I mean, it's hard to get one play touchdowns against this. So, anyways, that being said, you're going to see here that the Texas four man is still really good. It disengages. You don't call this defense to get the stun in every single time. You call it because when you get that right there, that is really good. Now, there's another thing about this. There's another thing about this. So that was empty protection. Now I'm going to go to base protection because those are really the two main protections you're going to see. If they start doing half slides, they're crazy. Especially when you're doing the same stun on both sides, they're actually crazy if they start doing half slides because, and this is why every now and then if you're playing somebody and you notice that your stun is not coming in, then I'll show you a little thing that you can do to kind of just tweak it a little bit. So you see here, I mean, the base protection surprisingly is actually blocking it fairly well in practice mode, but it doesn't really block it as well in game. And I showed that on my Twitter account with the little clips, and I actually break down every blitzing game as well. I just wanted to kind of show this slightly in practice mode, but let me just spread these guys out. But a lot of times you see it's still coming in. That was base protection. Okay. I just want you to see that like the stunts are still good. Okay. The specifically the Texas four-man. The other thing I wanted you to see is if you read down here, you're going to see something on these notes. So if we come back over here, so it says right here, base protection is less effective against stunts, reflecting its man-on-man nature. So what that means is that they did something to base protection that their base protection is not as good as it was. It also means that empty protection, it says that it improved recognition of stunts, but we showed against empty that the stunt was better than it was against base. Then also right here, this is really important. Blockers are better at identifying late blitzers and avoiding premature handoffs that lead to free rushers. So that's talking about loop blitzes, that they did some things to improve the logic for loop blitzes or second level blitzes. Okay. Now, if we did a El Paso stunt here, we'll just kind of see how this goes. It did say, like I said, that the base protection is worse against stunts. But in the video, as we've kind of shown so far, the base protection probably did the best against it. But if you start sliding your line a lot, here's something really important. Like, let's say you're picking up the stunt and you say, okay, well, maybe I want, because they, like let's half slide to the right. You're going to put yourself in a big problem because, I mean, you see here, I mean, I guess we're able to roll out, but like, when you start half sliding on people, all I got to do is just run a basic four-man rush, and normally you'll get somebody one-on-one or free coming in. So every now and then you just want to mix that up. Another thing that you can do is if you feel like they're doing some half slides and things of that nature, then just make one side just different. So let's do left Tom. Two-man, or we'll do, actually I want to do left exit two-man. So we'll do an exit stunt on the right, and we'll do a Texas on the, or I guess we can't do that for whatever reason. Anyway, we'll just do this. So you see half slide, you can kind of mix it up like that. All I'm trying to say is you really want to be blocking stunt blitzes with base or empty, and we showed that base or empty is not that great. And then when they start half sliding, it really opens up a lot of other things that we can do. For example, just sending this guy, right? Just sending this guy. And now we have a 5-on-5. And normally you're going to get somebody. Didn't get anybody there, but normally you're going to get somebody. Okay. Not going to spend too much time on that because I do break all that stuff down in more detail and in an actual game on Twitter. But just want you to know the Texas four-man stunt is still really, really effective. Base protection got worse, um, and they did continue to kind of put loot blitzes in a bad spot. Okay. Pocket behavior. So again, back to line logic. Tuning to decrease the likelihood of pass blockers staying in double teams when unnecessarily. Reduce frequency of illegal man downfield penalties. That's great. Edge rushers now better recognized when they're being out leveraged by scrambling quarterbacks. So they kind of helped a little bit with the whatever. And then also difficulty tuning, increased pass rush effectiveness on Heisman and All American. So I'm playing on Heisman here. So what that essentially means is they tuned up sheds. Now, all that to say, I got to do one other thing on the defensive side of the ball, real briefly with you. I think that the double mug, as a result of this patch, probably got a little better. And the reason why is because when you send this just basic send four like this, a lot of times you see how they get upfield and see how they really get upfield. I think this little just send four can be pretty good, right? And then it allows you to. I still think the best way to run double mug is to use the slot corner because you can still get into man to man principles. But to me, this little send four here is cool. The other thing that you can do is you can do all the stunts from this. So you can do a Texas stunt, and you can run the defense like that. Pretty good, right? The other thing you could do with double mug is you can send 6 or 4. So if I want to send 4, I'll just drop this linebacker on the right into coverage, and then I can drop. If I want to drop the D end, I can. I don't necessarily want to. But if you hit that center, that blitz is still really, really good. The thing about base protection is a little worse if you're not blocking anybody. In my opinion, it's like here's base protection. You see, we get the double edge. So, anyway, my point is just that these edge blitzes are a little better because it made the edge rush a little better overall. If they block a running back, you see here we're still getting pressure. So it's very simple. Still just send 4, send 6, send 4, send 5, send 6 at a mug is a little better. I would say if you're wanting to just send 4, the dime rush and single mug are a little better for that. Okay, so back to oh, I didn't realize I didn't have my video up. I'll show you one more time. So real quick, um, just so real quick here. So you see, I'm gonna go base protection, and I'm gonna block my running back. Okay, and normally you're still gonna trigger pressure off that edge, one of the edges. Okay, if they don't block the running back, and let's say you send 4, I've just noticed that this 4-man sheds better post patch. The edge rushers kind of get upfield a little bit more, especially against base pass pro. Now, if you wanted to, you can also do your Texas stunt as well. So you have a lot of options from double mug. And then I'll show one more time, and I'll show the Texas stunt. You see here's Texas stunt. Still pretty good. Okay. So all in all, not a whole lot really changed on the defensive blitzing side, other than loop blitzes, which were already not being really ran, were made a little bit worse. The run block stuff, I don't really. I mean, yeah, it's better. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. I'm just not gonna spend too much time on this. Like, this is something that's gonna take a little bit of time to actually see. Run fits in pursuit. This hopefully is true. I really hope that's true. Adjust. So they did touch the Wildcat. And then the playbook stuff, added some stuff, disabled playmaker flip, improved motion consistency. Oh, they patched the flipping hot routes, and they also, I'm pretty sure, patched the quiet the crowd glitch. That's about it. That's about all I want to talk about. Thanks for watching the video. And if you guys want to check out any more stuff, you can check out my Twitter. My all my ebooks are going to be updated with everything that changed post patch. That's all in our school community. And yeah, there you go.